Hello and welcome back to Subterrain Season 1, Episode 2. We're actually going to exit out of this. Come on. Oh, I actually can't exit out of this. I'm stuck. There, okay. Saving usually fixes that. That was fun. We do have a journal entry. This was from earlier. While in the journal, it does pause time, which is good. The evacuation status update. This is just a bunch of stuff talking about population being infected. And that's basically the security update. Hooray. So now we're actually going to be pretty much leaving this. Yeah, luckily the flashlight isn't as... Oh, it must have been turned off for some reason. Oh, I remember why. I basically took out my power pack. Now this does drain power, as to be expected. Stun grenades. Jeff Murray statue. You know, when he side strafes, it actually kind of freaks me out because I keep thinking that there's some sort of threat in here. I do know that this is where the prison gate key is. I wasn't too concerned about that. But there's also a storage shelf here. You want to check all those because they occasionally have weapons in them. Or weapon parts. Actually, I do want to kind of get my area, or my setup a little bit better. Dropping rotten food. We don't want rotten food in the slightest. Of these, was it this? No. We really don't need anything here. I guess bandages might be useful. If you start bleeding, it's gonna... Okay. It's gonna wreck your day. Another side bag, photon grenade. We actually don't need that crowbar. I think the crowbar is pretty good for damage, but... it's got no, critical chance. And it's a... These do have a lot of references. Light sticks, from what I understand, don't really have any use. So, they're not particularly something we want. Quick check. Take all these, because these are actually the keycards you need to get into the above area. And this is just basically showing you assembling a weapon or the ability to do that. Oh, we actually got a knife. I like these knives because these knives are really valuable for, yeah. We're actually running out of space, but yeah, the knives are slightly better for combat because they're slightly faster, and they can cause loss of limb, which is pretty good. And do note that every time you swing a weapon, it does drain some stamina. We're leaving through here. Not much else is in here. We can return back to the earlier stages of the prison and open up gates because we have the key cards, but we're not going to be concerned about that just yet. I finally made it to the prison's rail station. Incredibly, there was a fully operational tram. It's never left for wherever it was headed. I guess the evacuation never even made it past the station. Power seems to be flowing to the prison district, but there's no telling for how long it'll be before it's knocked out. If whoever did this will be back, or if whatever did this will be back. I don't want to find out. Central control was the heart of the MPO, so there's probably plenty of supplies I can gather there, maybe even survivors to make contact with, and perhaps something else. Something to eat. We're actually not bad on... Oh, actually, we're getting there. I'm going to eat some food. This stuff tends to be safe. Anything that's sealed is a lot safer than anything else that can be potentially contaminated. We actually need to go over here. Oh, we don't need to, but we can. And we can use one of the cards that we got. And we're going to open this up. This is an O2 generator. You can actually take this filter I would highly suggest not doing that, though. I just want to take the equipment here. Gotta check through this. Unfortunately, you can technically take these and use them for other areas, and it's actually important to do so eventually. Right now, that's not too much of a concern for us. We just need to know where all that is, because we'll eventually want to keep those running as well. This area should be safer to work with. In fact, if I remember correctly, I can actually open this up, and reactor status. Okay, that does actually cause time. Mars map is what I'm thinking out. Global infection rate is 10%. This is pretty important because we only have a limited amount of time before it starts becoming an actual threat. Oxygen levels in the MPO prison. It's fast local infection. That means the regional infection rate here is probably pretty high. Yeah, it's one of the higher ratings. We could technically pull that and do the, remove that threat, but... Or not remove the threat. Move it to an area that we're going to be working in next. We actually need to go to the bathroom, so... Fun. If I remember correctly, bathrooms are just over here. And that mini-map is really helpful. There we go. And we're going to need to rest at some point. We'll do that at the main base. You'll be seeing the main base shortly. But for now, let's head on to the, I guess, the next area. This is the tram. You'll be using these frequently at a later date. We're going to save game here, just because I like to save before I get on the tram. Yes, I know, get on the tram. Basically, they want you to get on the tram, and we're going to go right here. Destination? It'll be 1 hour and 40 minutes. Game will be saved. Yes. And yes, I know the game does get saved there, but you can do a few things. One is you can eat, drink. You can't technically sleep on the tram, but yeah, time control. You can usually skip this because this isn't really an important one, but normally people want to either eat, drink, and prepare for the next area, because it does pass time when you're actually on that tram. There we go. We're now stepping off the tram. This is a save station. You can save your progress here. I normally do it just for fun. That is a security area, and I actually want to get the tutorials over with, so... Oh, come on. There we go. The oxygen canister, basically, you're going to have oxygen and thermal canisters that will allow the storage of vital resources when in areas that do not have the necessary safety. Now, this is a very unique area that no monsters will normally spawn in here under almost any circumstance. Now, we do want to get weapons out of this, primarily. The bag is full. That's disappointing. I'll just... Oh. Remove the crowbar and baton. Not too concerned about that. The glow stick I actually would consider a secondary thing that we're probably going to want over time. This is a bunch of storable material that we're going to be using eventually, but right now it's not too much of a concern. Take the machine guns, or the SMGs. And I usually like to carry the shotgun. And it's what I'm going to do. Drawer, drawer. Yeah, funny enough, those are actually relatively valuable for the materials they have. We actually need to just search around. This is the bathroom for this area. We're going to go up here and trigger the next area. We're going to need to go in there, but we need to go in here first. Nobody's home. It looks like there's nobody here, living or otherwise. Everyone seems to evacuate, or whatever did this isn't around, and whatever did this isn't around either. I guess this place is safe for now. I may as well set up my base camp here. This would be a good place to stage my escape. Fortunately for me, most of the important facilities for MPO are within walking distance of the central control. I don't even need power. I don't even need to power up those sections to reach them. I could probably reboot the 3D printer and other facilities in Nelson's engineering, maybe even print out some supplies I need. Herbert Research, where I used to work, has research equipment I could use to feed instructions to the system in Nelson. I'd probably have to use the excavator in the mine to gather resources for the 3D printer. And I should also check out the biosphere. I could probably use the agricultural system there to supply biocombiner and Nelson engineering, maybe even sustain myself. I should check out each of these locations and see if I can figure out what's going on. At the very least, if I can get to the facilities and get these facilities restarted, I can prepare myself for the worst. There are a few staircases leading to these areas somewhere around here. I'm sure I can recognize them again once I see them. That's good. Yeah, he's basically saying, yeah, I know where these are, and I need to get there. Take all items. We actually can't take all these equipment because our bag is full. We're going to need to go dump stuff off. And the best place to do that is, I think, it's not in here. It actually might be blocked until later. I mean, later as in a couple minutes. Yeah, I have to actually go. I'm actually going to sprint. Sprinting does drain stamina, but we don't usually need to sprint unless we're fighting something. I'm not too concerned about that. Every time he side strafes, it makes me sound like there's multiple creatures. This is the basic facilities area. We need a control keycard there. These are where all the staircases are and the primary power source. We actually want to go to the very bottom one, but we're going to go here for now, because there's a couple things up and down. Primary thing down here is that, hooray, there's storage. The beacon, they're basically telling you about the beacon, of which we got 2 of them already, which is a bit surprising. A couple things I'm going to do here is I'm going to store any side bags that I don't immediately need, and while beacons are useful, I don't usually use them. But here's more beacons and power packs. We're going to be using those. We actually want to check all these first. Since this is a medical storage area, we probably want to... we don't need to do that yet. I usually store junk items or items I don't need immediately, like extra grenades and even power packs. I don't usually carry around unless I actually need them. Food, we don't want to carry around anything that can potentially be contaminated, so we just want to keep stuff that is sealed. Sealed means that it cannot be contaminated at any given time, so we're safe consuming these at all times. What I do want to get, however, is this stuff. Most of the stuff I can't actually use yet, so we're just going to store it in here for later use. This is resources or basic materials. We don't need to worry about these, and these are hacked keycards. Hooray! Good. What was it? In here? Nope. Oh yeah, we need to go to the medical supplies and everything. And we actually need to go up in here, but that's in a second. Take all items. We want to have all that. There is another thing I'm going to be doing, but that's going to be at a slightly later time. This is if you actually want to get your first standard colonist suit. Usually you don't get those that early, but apparently I got lucky. Good stuff. Now we go into the actual place. This is what I was looking for. This is a suitcase, and it contains the power control room keycard, which is critically important. And this stuff's just junk. We also want to steal everything from these and kind of centralize them. Yeah, I can actually move those. We're going to need to do that at some point, and we're going to be probably moving a few things here. These are spigots where you can actually drink from. all that. We don't want to have anything that can be contaminated, as hazards of contamination are pretty severe. As you might expect, contamination tends to be poisonous. There we go. Nope, nothing there. So funny enough, we're actually going to be moving stuff into a new room, and you'll see why. In fact, actually, I think I can get in through... No, I can't. I have to actually get through the generator, or the power control area, which is a little bit in the middle, but I want to check this stuff primarily for key cards, because key cards are extremely valuable here, and you can find quite a few of them in here. Yeah, they're often in these drawers, and they're not guaranteed, but they're basically like dungeon keys. You want to find as many of them as possible. I kind of hate that you can't pick that one up, because those would have been useful. Wow. That's a lot of stuff in there. The bag is full. You got some more suits. Wow. Yeah, these things are actually important. We're going to be using those relatively soon. So let's get moving. We have a limited amount of time. We do want to have the shotgun on hand when we go to the next area, because it's going to be critical. This does a lot of damage really early on. There we go. This is our basic access. Hooray. But because I grabbed all that junk, I actually need to deposit it. Fill this up. Can't fill anymore. I'm actually going to take all those items and we'll store whatever junk we don't need in here. Basically any military gear. We don't need beacons. We don't need a spare suit. We don't need grenades. We don't need junk food. We don't need rotten food. And all that is sealed. Okay, good. Now you can see that our rest is starting to get a little high, or our need for rest. These have a lot of the important key cards. We're going to find quite a few of them in here. Nilsson Engineering. These key cards are pretty important for a lot of reasons. Yeah, control panel. This is something that we're going to run into a little bit later. We don't need it just yet. Actually, we do. What am I thinking? We actually do need that relatively soon. And we actually want to activate that too. One thing we want to do is first activate this one. Disconnected. Power usage, it should be fine. We want to activate these two primarily early on, because this will slightly prevent some issues from happening. Unfortunately, due to the fact of this place not being maintained very well. I want to understand, we want to keep those closed for now. I think nothing can get in through them, but it's fine for now. We want to open these areas up primarily because... Oh, Class A card. Interesting. The generator. Now this is actually pretty important, and that's why I grabbed the guns early on. You'll see why. I found my way to the reactor for the colony. This power plant is one of humanity's most remarkable achievements. It's the inertia drive. Inertia drives runs almost endlessly via core inertia engine. While it doesn't generate quite as much energy as a fusion-based technology, what it produces is clean, reliable, and endless. Without it, MPO would have never been founded in the first place. The guy that designed this thing must have been inspired. I still hardly understand how it works. What I can understand, though, is that it has been damaged somehow. I can't tell by looking at it directly, but the generator status readouts indicates that it's losing capacity at a constant rate. I don't think I'll be able to fix this. It looks like the generator's reactor modules are burning out due to the damage. The generator must have at least one operation module installed to prevent meltdown. I might be able to find some spare modules around here somewhere, but I should plan on taking a core down to the Herbert's research. Once there, I can see if I can research the machines, if the research machines can create a schematic that I can use to produce more in Nilsson's engineering. That's why I activated those two areas. If the power draw exceeds the generator's capacity, the generator is sure to fail. I should be okay for a while, but I need to figure out how to offset this. If I don't, it won't be long before there's only enough power for the control, central control. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, if the generator fails at any given time, if all these cores are damaged or destroyed, it's permanent and there's a game over. Now, you're going to see this. Come on. Radiation. While I've been exploring the generator, I found hallways branching off in all directions. It seems containers of radioactive materials have been spilled. I shouldn't get any closer, or finding my way out of here will be the least of my problems. It's so unsettling that all three hallways have had the same accident. Whatever the case, these hallways leave the generator vulnerable. There's no doors to close off, and should something come down this way. Basically what it's saying is, someone has did the bad thing. Yeah, this is the generator. It's basically showing you you can check reactor status and see the threats here. We do want to keep this as safe as possible. Funny enough, it's actually easier to have guns on the center area, even though you're supposed to kind of branch it out. And that's where the guns come into effect. Is you actually want to have at least all of these functional and replaceable. One thing we do want is we kind of want to take one of these cores, but it's kind of important to not overdo it. I'm going to take one of the outer rings that is minimally protected. Take all items. I just want to take this one item. It's really important, and it's rather dangerous that you do that because unfortunately it's not replaceable. Well, I mean, it's replaceable. It's just once it's been removed, it's difficult to actually replace them early on. So yeah, until we can actually resolve that, we're kind of in a bad position. Now, next thing we're going to go do is over here. We want to kind of move a little bit faster. Actually, I want to trigger one other thing. This is the repairing. The nano repairer is basically something that allows you to restore 50% of the original durability of an item so long as it's not completely destroyed. Understand that it only restores up to 50% early on. You can get upgrades to it later, but until then, yeah, you kind of want to make sure that you're doing okay here. Other than that, I think that's the end of the episode. If you enjoy what you're watching, like and subscribe for more. Have a nice day. See you in the next episode. And hopefully we can start moving into the next area, which I'm probably going to go for the research, primarily because it's more important for research than the actual engineering. But I'll see you guys. Bye. Thank you for watching. For more content, check out my channel. If you wish to support my channel, check out my Patreon. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter for updates.